What if your character had a unique mode of transportation? Today on the What If Brigade, I'm going to be covering five unique fantasy modes of transportation for role-playing games. And before we get started, there's going to be a little bit of a bonus, a sixth, if you will. And I just want to say that flying creatures and carpets and ships are awesome, and they're sort of cheating. I mean, that's kind of like saying, if you're an adventurer, saying like, I want to take a griffin or a dragon or a pegasus or a flying carpet or a giant dragonfly or something like that is cool and everything, but that's sort of like saying you want to take your private jet camping. I mean, again, the flying creatures are awesome, but just for today, I'm going to lead those off this list, and in part because I've really noticed that if you're indoors or on a ship or in a dense forest or in some sort of cave network, a lot of the flying creatures don't work as well. Really awesome for getting to and from your destination, flying first class all the way, but they're just not quite as practical as some of the other things on this list. And by the way, I'm not listing these in order of my favorite, least favorite to most favorite. I'm listing them in order of kind of practicality and how, because obviously as unique creatures, I wanted to pick some that might be useful somehow. And so without further ado, number 5 on this list is something from the Palladium RPG, Adventures of the Northern Wilderness. It's called a Tree Swift or an Arbalite. It is a cousin of the Silanor, and if you're not familiar with Palladium at all, essentially it's a very graceful, very beautiful, and much more gentle velociraptor. These things can run through the forest at 30 miles an hour. They can leap, they can jump, they're extremely agile. Just jump up into the tree limbs, jump from limb to limb like an anime character. Just, really, really cool creatures. Unfortunately, they are also extremely rare. They're the rarest creature in the Northern Wilderness, and if you don't play Palladium, you've probably never even heard of them. And they can't really carry too much weight, about 250 pounds maximum. But if you're talking about arriving in style, an Arbalite is super unique. And then the fourth, number 4, is a giant spider. The problem with giant spiders, of course, is they're generally hostile. But if for some reason you could control a giant spider or tame it in some way, spiders are really excellent in terms of transportation. They've got a lot of legs. They move very quickly. They can climb very well. A lot of them can even sort of swim. So a spider is just a really useful creature to have, and comes with its own rope making capabilities. So that's nice. Number 3 is something else that's giant, but this one is real, a saber-toothed tiger. And I'd really include any of the real megafauna on this list, whether it's extinct ones like a woolly mammoth, or whether it's present-day megafauna like an elephant or a rhinoceros, pretty much anything giant. But if I had to pick, and I'm making it unique, saber-toothed tiger is a really fun riding creature, really intimidating, and again, difficult to train, but difficult to find. But if you've got one, a saber-toothed tiger is an excellent fantasy riding creature. And 2, I'm going to go much more practical, and this is going to be a dog sled, or if there's no snow, a travois. And essentially, what you do is you take a team of dogs, and they pull you and your stuff. And this you can do it with a scooter or a cart. This is actually not often seen in fantasy games, but but a lot of fantasy games have really amazing canine creatures. Not just dogs, but tamed wolves and all kinds of crazy stuff. So having a dog team really gives a lot of advantages, and especially in a northern environment, in a cold environment, curling up to sleep with 9 or 12 dogs is great. Keeps you warm. They basically set their own watch. Excellent at helping with tracking and hunting. Dogs, as you know, are one of my favorite creatures. You can check out my Dogs and Druids video for more on that. So I'll try to keep the rambling on that subject to a minimum. But my number 2 pick was a dog sled, and my number 1 pick is a catamaran. And a catamaran is a type of ship with 2 hulls, and that offers a number of advantages. They're very stable. They turn very nicely. Usually they can be operated by a very small crew, just 1 or 2 people, and they use less material than a single hulled ship. They have a lower draft, which means they can go into shallower waters. And if they go to, say, a beach at high tide and the tide goes away and they're left there at low tide, because they have the 2 hulls, they're stable. They just rest on the ground until the tide comes back. They don't tip over. Really a very practical design. They can adapt to all kinds of situations. You can use one on a river or a lake, but you could also, one of these was constructed and sailed from Hawaii to France. And these things are thousands of years old. You might think like, oh, those outrigger canoes, those are the old ones. No, actually, see, they first had double canoes. Historians now think first they had double canoes, and then the outrigger is essentially when they realized, we don't really need 2 canoes, and they switched to that mode, and they kept that for balance. But yeah, these aren't very well known in the West, but they've been in use for thousands of years in the Australia region. Very, very easy to build, doesn't require a lot of technology, and again, just a really practical design. It's going to hold a lot of weight because of you can put netting or boards in between the 2 canoes, so you have a lot of living surface. So if you're on a long voyage, it's not as cramped of quarters, but just an incredibly practical design. And as you guys know, I love ships in role-playing games. It's essentially a portable setting. I have mentioned that in other videos, but my number 1 unique mode of fantasy transportation is a catamaran. So this has been the What If Brigade, and I hope you have a great day.